Coming up, you're going to discover my favorite productivity hack that will help you earn more and keep you sane. Stay tuned. What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young, refreshed from a day where I had 19 calls. I had 21 scheduled, 2 canceled, which was fortunate for me because I got a little bit of break, but 19 calls just yesterday. And this is my favorite productivity hack. I started really not liking client calls because I was like, man, I don't like to work on ASO and all the things that we're doing for our clients and then switch into, so that's maker's mode, and switch to manager's mode where, you're talking to people, it's clients, it's maybe your team. So it's hard to switch back and forth between those two modes. And so what I started doing, what I already did with my podcast was I schedule podcast episodes on Wednesday and I just go back to back to back. And so I said, oh, why don't I just do that for these calls? Because I actually like talking to people and helping people out, but I unfortunately don't like to switch modes. That was a problem. It's not that I hated client calls, I just didn't like to switch modes. And so my hack for you is to batch everything. And if you're running an agency or you're a consultant or you're even meeting with your teams, like just batch all your calls at once. It keeps me energized. I'm pretty drained at the end of the day, but it keeps me really energized throughout the whole day because I love talking to people and I'm always talking to new people. And the best part is you get to A/B test a lot too. I know people who are maybe coming up with new SDKs or new software or maybe even investor meetings or whatever it is. It's like you get to A/B test and like on the fly kind of say, oh, if I say it this way, people will really, you got some good feedback on it. And if I said this other way, oh, I got some more feedback on it. And so it really helps you A/B test some of the strategies and your messaging just with real people and you get their real feedback. It's one of the best things I've ever done. And the other thing I would add on to that, so I do calls once a week. It also puts you in the power of, especially if you're doing sales, I would say more in the power position because, I do get people who say, hey, Steve, we have a call scheduled for Tuesday. Is there anything, can you do anytime earlier? And, part of me is like, well, I don't want to lose this potential client. I want to kind of give in. And I have to fight that and say, no, I'm sorry, but I only do it once a week. If you want to pay for my time to do it earlier, you can, and I'll just deduct that amount if we end up working together. I'm happy to do that. But if not, then, I'll talk to you on Tuesday. So that's the strategy I've been using. And I think it puts you in that position of, of sort of like the analogy I would make is you see a restaurant with a long line, right? And you're like, that place must be good. And so when you have this type of strategy where you're doing client calls once a week, it's like, oh man, this guy is not hungry, right? Like this guy must be okay. Where he's just like, nope, I won't do it any earlier. I'm not trying to get your business, or I'm fine even if you sign or do not sign. And then there's a line outside too where he's only available certain days. You want to talk to that person a little bit more as well. That's really helped too. So fight the urge. If you do this, fight the urge to give in to certain clients who say, hey, or potential clients who say, hey, can I talk to you a little bit earlier? I'm happy to do calls outside of my normal schedule with clients that have already paid and signed on. But usually for potential ones, I try to just do one day. The other tip I would give is I do 20-minute calls, and that's been phenomenal because if you think about your time, 8-hour window, if you do 30-minute calls, then you can only do about 16. Now I did 19, 21 scheduled, and that's because I did 20 minutes break. And then people really, hopefully they don't go over. Usually they don't. But the trick that I was gonna do is do 15, because I used to do 15-minute slots, even though I'd say, hey, we can only talk for 15 minutes, but I've allocated about 30. And I said they would stick to that 15 minutes, like, oh, we gotta run. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. We actually have 30. And I would do that. But I found that 20 is a nice mark to hit because it's really enough time for you to talk it through. It's that initial call anyways. And a lot of times you can get a lot done in that 20 minutes. So 20 minutes once a day, 20-minute allocations once a day a week, best productivity hack ever. And doing 19, phenomenal. I love talking to people. So if you need help with anything, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Like I said, I do it once a week, and that's what you should do too. And I try to allocate certain days for certain things, and that helps me be the most productive that I could possibly be. Hope that helps. I want to share more like outside just business, general productivity tips other than just talking about apps all the time. But if you got any questions related to apps, feel free to reach out to me as well. So hope that was helpful, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.